Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Filoki, and today we're going to be talking about something that I believe is pretty interesting when it comes to filling a pretty big area of need for the Seattle Seahawks. And that need for the Seattle Seahawks is corner. And we're going to be talking about Stephon Gilmore. Now, Stefan Gilmore is a guy who's kind of been thrown under the radar when it comes to his trade rumors because of Julio Jones and everything that's happening with that situation. And rightfully so. Julio Jones, very interesting situation right now. But Stephon Gilmore, I still think that he is a guy that we should definitely look at possibly going after. The Seahawks have clearly shown that they're trying to fill that corner spot, but they haven't really had the opportunity to get that clear number one corner on the team. After Shaquille Griffin left being the number one guy, he got paid way too much by Jacksonville. We really couldn't bring him back. We kind of just have a bunch of number two and number three guys. DJ Reed, absolutely amazing, but I don't know if he can be a number one just yet. Ahkello Witherspoon, we just brought him in. I don't know if he can be a number one yet. We drafted Trey Brown. We still have Trey Flowers. We have Ugo Amadi, Marquise Blair that can play the corner spot, but we don't have that number one corner that'll follow around the best guy on the team. And that's the thing that I believe Stephon Gilmore could come in and be. The New England Patriots have shown little to no interest whatsoever in extending Stephon Gilmore, so more likely than not, they'll be trading him sometime throughout the season, maybe before the season starts. No idea when they would trade him, but if you're not going to be bringing a guy back after next year, and if he's a top talent, you might as well get rid of him, trade him, get something back for him at least. And that's where I think the Seahawks could come in. And if a trade was done soon enough, it could possibly help the Patriots move and try and get Julio Jones. I'm going to assume that the New England Patriots are looking to get Julio Jones like every other team in the entire NFL, because the New England Patriots wide receiver group is honestly not that great. So I would assume if the New England Patriots were going to try to trade away someone like Stephon Gilmore, who only has 1 year left on his deal, so they're probably not going to be getting too much. Maybe the Seahawks would trade a third round pick, maybe a fourth and a fifth or something like that to the New England Patriots, and then the New England Patriots could go ahead and flip that, add that with a second rounder, maybe a first rounder, and go and get Julio Jones with just some free capital that they got from the Seattle Seahawks. That could possibly be an option for the New England Patriots, but honestly, I think that Stephon Gilmore is going to be pretty cheap to get. Probably cheaper than Julio Jones, to be honest. When it comes to talent, obviously Stephon Gilmore is one of the best corners in the league. For some reason, people have been questioning, like, oh, is he actually that good? He played 11 games last year. He dealt with injuries. Is he actually going to be that good? He's getting up there in age. And yes, age is something that is pretty scary, but Stephon Gilmore, he clearly showed that he is very good. He played really well against everyone not named DK Metcalf last year, and if we were only going to be giving up like a third round pick, maybe a fourth and a fifth to get him, and if we only kept him on that 1 year deal, that would be kind of sad, but I think he would help us win now. He'd fill a big need, and honestly, I think that he'd be fine for that year. Ironically enough, when it comes to DK Metcalf, Ahkello Witherspoon, the guy that we signed this offseason, actually played a lot better against DK Metcalf than Stephon Gilmore did. He definitely had less snaps played against DK Metcalf than Stephon Gilmore, but funnily enough, when we actually ended up playing the 49ers, I put a note on my phone saying, Ahkello Witherspoon, if this guy's in free agency, we could get him because he guarded DK Metcalf like 4 times and he did really good. I don't know why, but that's just something I always think about when I'm talking about our corners, because Ahkello Witherspoon, he definitely has shown that he can play really, really well at the top of his game, but it's really just seeing if he can be at the top of his game at all times. And that's why I think someone like Stephon Gilmore, who you know is going to be a consistent number one guy that can come in and be the top corner on the team, be a veteran presence, and a very, very talented guy, I think that is definitely a great thing to bring in. And honestly, the biggest thing is that Stephon Gilmore fills a much bigger area of need than Julio Jones. It is time for another analogy. In my last video about Julio Jones, I brought up a spectacular analogy where you have a Toyota Corolla, but then you see a Lamborghini. That Lamborghini is Julio Jones. The Toyota Corolla, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. But now you are plagued with another issue. You have recently gotten a hole in your pants where your balls are. That is the Seattle Seahawks losing Shaquille Griffin in free agency. Now, I'm not saying the Seattle Seahawks should have went crazy and gotten Shaquille Griffin for the amount of money he got paid. Absolutely not. However, there is now a way to fix that issue where the hole in the pants of your balls, you have Stephon Gilmore. You have a way to fix your pants. You have a luxury here in the Lamborghini, Julio Jones, but you have a need here, fixing your pants so your nuts and balls aren't hanging out. Now, some people may pick getting that Lamborghini, getting the luxury, and letting their balls and nuts hang out. And I would respect that 100%. That is very respectable. However, it definitely is more of a need to get that Stephon Gilmore, get your pants fixed so that you can actually go back out into society. And that's where I believe I stand here. I believe it is more important to go for the need, which I believe would be Stephon Gilmore, than to go for the luxury. Because guess what? If you're walking around with your cock and nuts hanging out, that's kind of an issue. If you're driving around in the Toyota Corolla, that's not as big of an issue. So I think you fix the need before you get the luxury. If you can get both, boy, that's epic, but I don't think that you can. So my personal opinion is that the Seattle Seahawks go to fix the need, fix the hole in your pants, get Stephon Gilmore. Thank you. So yeah, with that horrible analogy, I hope I got the point across that Stefan Gilmore is much more of a need than trading for someone like Julio Jones, because corner is definitely a much bigger need than wide receiver for our team, and that's kind of the feeling I have right now. Stefan Gilmore, he would have an $8 million cap hit, actually less I believe if we ended up trading for him. It'd be on a one-year deal. We could possibly extend him, maybe not. We probably wouldn't have to give up much more than a third-round pick. If we even had to give up a third-round pick for him, it'd be much cheaper to get him than it would be to get someone like Julio Jones, and he fills a much bigger need. So honestly, I think Stephon Gilmore is a very, very good option for the Seahawks to go for, and I think it'd be mutually beneficial for both teams, both the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. I kind of mentioned this before, but I definitely think it would be really interesting for the New England Patriots to make a trade like this, because of course they're probably not going to be keeping Stephon Gilmore. They don't really seem like they are. Maybe internally we just don't know what they're thinking about, so maybe they want to keep him, maybe they don't, but right now it doesn't seem like they're trying to extend him. So maybe trading him sooner rather than later to get some extra draft capital, some extra things that you could trade to potentially try and get Julio Jones from the Falcons. Getting rid of that $8 million would probably be pretty helpful in trying to take on the contract of Julio Jones as well. You know, you take that third, fourth, fifth rounder from the Seattle Seahawks, you go and throw it back into the trade, get Julio Jones, and guess what? Us boys at the Seahawks, we don't care. We played the AFC East last year, and I'm pretty sure AFC divisions we play once every 4 years, so the next 3 years of Julio Jones' contract, we ain't gotta worry. So I wouldn't be too mad about the New England Patriots getting Julio Jones, especially if it meant that we get Stephon Gilmore for like a fourth or a third or something like that. I would be 100% down to get a Stephon Gilmore because, like I said before, we got a lot of good guys that can possibly play as number ones, but not consistently. We got a bunch of 2s and 3s at the corner spot right now, and we need that real number one guy that can come in, be the veteran, have the talent, kind of be that consistent guy that can be the number one for us, teach the guys below him, younger than him, what they need to know, and still play really, really good football. I think we'd have a really, really solid secondary if we ended up getting Stephon Gilmore. Of course, we have no idea if the Patriots are actually willing to trade him. We know the Atlanta Falcons are going to trade Julio Jones, but the Patriots right now, it's just kind of speculation if they will or won't trade Stephon Gilmore. But if they do, the Seattle Seahawks should go for him, in my humble opinion. But let me know down below in the comments what you think about this situation. Should the Seattle Seahawks go for Stephon Gilmore? If they can, why or why not? Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.